Welcome to the Long Island View, and I am here with my gorgeous co-host, Miss Joyce Philbin-Collier.
How are you?
What a show we had, huh?
Oh, that was great.
I wish the audience could have been here.
Well, Laura Branigan,
after the
who
show.
was the topic of our show, is probably one of my all-time favorites.
Well, you know, that song is still played. Well, a lot of us saw, but Gloria, I mean, come on.
Well, I have a CD in my car that I play all the time.
Is that, do you have like driving music?
Yes.
Yeah, like pump up
when
music?
I'm very tired in the morning, and our guest, who
Crank
we'll
it.
introduce in a minute, is the percussionist on it. And I can't tell you how many times it lifts me up, and, you know, I suddenly get a second, you know, surge of energy, and I don't feel really tired. And I'll email you or send a message saying, thanks for playing me home.
I have certain, I'm just sure everyone does, but I know, like, when you're tired, and especially in the morning when you got to go to work or whatever, and I call them my pump-up songs.
Yeah.
And, you know, even when, like, I was an athlete all my life, and, you know, before a big, whatever, wrestling match or whatever it was, I would, even you probably my friends will be hysterical, but I used to put Tom Jones on.
Oh, yeah, no, I can see that.
Crank it all the way to 11.
Well, he was like...
And that was before I went out.
He was like so manly, so you had to get that manly
I saw the
feeling.
light in the fire. You know, it just gets you going, you know. And it's and that's a song, Gloria. I mean, come on. I mean, that's, you know, like we did that show at Eisenhower Park for Sandy victims, and with Gloria Gaynor. And that's another one, you know. That's another classic. I mean, she'll be doing that song forever.
Yep. And
they don't go away.
They don't.
They don't.
They live on through their gift, and certainly Laura Branigan did.
What a beautiful way to intro your guest.
Yes. Well, our guest is probably one of the busiest people working. He has many, many talents and has amassed credits that could probably take up the next half hour. But I will tell you, he's an actor in television, film, and live theater. He's presently in a dinner theater show in Manhattan. And I just want to say that I am also an actor. I am also a member of the Screen Actors Guild. And I have worked almost every single season of The Good Wife. I've gotten a couple of good, you know, screen times. But this guy, one day, on The Good Wife, and he is in the New York Post with two of the principals, okay? And I'm like, really? One day. And he's like, the kings of primetime. So I'm going to introduce you to Tommy.
Were you angry?
No, not at all. I'm very happy for him. He knows I love him, and that I'm very happy for him. But that was a little hard to handle. But I still liked it when he posted it. Anyway, I'd like to introduce you to Tommy Bayiokos.
Thank you for having me back on the show, and wonderful studio, and congratulations on your third season. I made some phone calls. I made them an offer they can't refuse.
Yes. Well, why don't you go into the live show that you are involved with?
Well, first thing, with all due respect, that article, I think that was just placement and good timing and luck. Obviously, they wanted to match an FBI agent that's the same height as Chris North. And I think staying aware of the camera, and I think just the hard work and the luck put me in that position.
And you do work hard.
Yes.
Every minute of the day, you do something to improve each of your talents.
Kings at a prime time.
I know, you're a king. Who knew?
And you put yourself out there, and people like you on set, and things happen. And I think that was a result of...
Good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
Yes. And you work, as I said, you know, you're either in improving your craft, you get... You know, how do you choose? I mean, you are an actor, you are a drummer percussionist, you are a martial arts black belt.
Yes.
You really have so many talents. How do you choose on a day-to-day basis what you're working on to keep
Good question.
relevant and to keep on top of your game?
It's a lot of hard work. It's really 24/7. I mean, I could go home, listen to Steve Gadd, and work on my chops. I could go work out, practice the martial arts. If I'm not on set, I'll go up to the SAG-AFTRA Conservatory and I work on Dale Wasserman's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You mentioned Murdered by the Mob, Play Kill. This is Broadway's longest running dinner theater show. Yes,
Yep.
it's on there. And John Marola, actor, director, producer. It has a wonderful cast ensemble with John Romanelli actually he's a Long Island resident.
Can
Judy
you
San
give us a
Roman.
little synopsis of what happens? You know,
Well, I can't give
you can't give the plot away, but you can give some general information about what people can expect when they come.
They won't be bored. I mean, for the money you're going to pay, you're going to have a dinner and a show. Shots will be fired. Everybody's a suspect.
And it's interactive?
It's interactive. This is one of the things where the actor, you break the fourth wall, where you interact with the audience. And I portray Officer Townsend. And Officer Townsend, he's a cop wannabe. He's seen Kojak and Starsky and Hutch too many times. It's like Abbott and Costello, and he tries to solve the case. He's shooting, he's out of bullets, he's tripping up, he's hitting on Cookie. He's a wreck. And he's trying to solve this case. So the case does get solved, and there's dancing. The food's great on 38th Street at Arnold's Restaurant downstairs. There's over 200 people every show. The cast ensemble with Kimberly Magnus, Judy San Roman, John Romanelli, to name a few, is really talented cast.
Do they do this?
This is actually a couple times a week.
Okay.
So they have a long roster, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of the recurring roster. I'm on it a few times a month. And it's a place also to work out your chops.
Sure.
And again, it's a balancing act. So one night you're doing dinner theater. Next day, we're doing a gig on the Chelsea Piers with the band. Steve Marshall. I'm sitting in this Sunday in Forest Park, Queens, for a breast cancer benefit. So I'm going to get a sit-in with Steve Marshall in the band. Nice. And you mentioned he played with Gene Cornish and some really cool cats. So it's a juggling act, but the business is 24/7, and it's fast.
Let me ask you something. On the last show, you had mentioned that you started playing drums at 10.
At 10, that's correct.
Now, we went from there to Laura Branigan.
Yes.
What about in the middle of that?
Good question. Well, I was 10 years old. I saw Buddy Rich, and I wanted to be Buddy Rich. And I met Buddy Rich in '86 before he passed, and I shook his hand, and he squashed my hand. He goes, "Thanks, kid." And his fingers were like this thick. Before Laura, I played at the Miss America pageants from 1998 to 2001 for ABC. So that was a really cool gig. And,
that was before Trump, right?
That was before Trump. Pix 11, the morning show. I had a little Elvis tribute musical going on.
He's an Elvis impersonator too.
A tribute.
We have a lot of them in here.
I try to stay quiet about that, but I did do it.
That's cool.
Well, look, Kurt Russell did Elvis. Harvey Keitel did Elvis. James Carey did Elvis.
And in case any background needs an Elvis, you're the guy.
Nicolas Cage, right?
Nicolas Cage did Elvis.
Yeah.
So I had an Elvis tribute band where we played in the morning show for Pix 11, and I had a few friends, and the producer loved Elvis. It's like we could do no wrong. So I got a chance
right next to Pfizer, right?
That's correct. So I got a chance to play on the morning show as a drummer. So how cool is that? I got a chance to act, be Elvis, and play drums. It was like a dream. So I've done a few things before. Frankie Avalon I played for also. I did one show.
And how do they find you for you to do that?
I think in his biz, it's reference. Yeah. I mean, when I studied at the Drummers Collective, my card and name got around everywhere after Brooklyn College, where I studied, where my roots were jazz and big band. So at Drummers Collective in the late 80s, mid 80s, I got a chance to take master classes with Steve Gadd, Dave Weckl, Dennis Chambers, Kenny Aronoff, Max Weinberg, Michael Clark. It goes on. And my teacher, Kim Plainfield, he's the author of Advanced Concepts. And probably one of the best drum teachers in the world. I mean, he teaches at Berkeley. He's well known in the fusion area.
Right.
And you did a seminar at Screen Actors Guild.
Screen Actors Guild, I did a program. 9 months it took in the works. After we saw Whiplash, I came up with the idea to come up with a class called Whiplash Drumming for the Working Actor. Because a lot of the roles you see on commercial, they're 2-second spots, and the drummer is just, they're not playing, they're miming the part. Very simple, very 2 and 4.
So I gave a whole class. Experience, right?
Yes. how to mime, how to sell that you're playing. And I gave a whole class, a 2-hour seminar in front of my peers on whiplash drumming for the working actor. I even gave my college a pair of sticks.
Oh,
Everybody
wow.
was involved.
Very
And it's going to
nice.
come back in the fall, so that was really, really cool.
So how, at 10 years old, how did you come to be interested in it? Because that was also a tough year for you in other ways.
Yes.
And maybe you can talk about how all that entered into.
Into play, sure. When my mom passed, I was at Marine Park Junior High School, and you had to take a music course. And I wanted to play flute, and I was asthmatic. So the doctor didn't want me blowing on anything. And everybody wanted to play drums, so not everybody could play drums. But I came to class with a doctor's note and said, she wants me to play drums. I can't play trumpet or flute or anything.
Oh, wow, how fortuitous for you.
So it was a cathartic for me. I was obsessed with it. I would come in the morning, practice, and I just lived it. I just was banging everything. And then when,
Do you feel like that it really has to be something that's in you? Because, when I see drummers getting into, and you can probably speak to this as well, when I see them getting into their solos and really doing, it really looks like they're in another world and they're in their zone. And
They're in that groove.
yeah, but is it something that everybody can learn, or is that something that you think is instinctual?
Well, learning a lot from Laura, I think, helped me a lot musically about the space, phrasing, and dynamics. Tito Puente also had a nice showbiz thing that I lived by. Make something difficult look easy. Make something easy look difficult. So Tito Puente would keep a straight quarter thing
Less
on Oye
is
Como
more.
Va, and he'd make it look like it's the most difficult thing. And then he would come out with a fancy lick, and that was nothing. Yeah. But behind that nothing lick, hours and hours and hours of work went into that little moment.
Ringo's a perfect example of that.
Well said.
Is he the greatest drummer in the world? No, but he's probably the most famous drummer in the
and
world.
most musical.
And never missed a beat.
Yes.
But simple. Very
exactly.
simple. Very
and
simple.
Laura talked about that too, because growing up as a drummer, if there was space in the music, I had to be there. And that's not going to keep you working. The idea as I matured musically is to play less, make it feel good. And if you're pointed, and if your time comes to take a solo or make a musical statement, you hit it out of the park.
And you do.
Yeah.
Yes. And Laura taught me a lot about that showbiz aspect of it. And I've taken it.
And would you say that she
today.
gave her band members those opportunities to shine in their,
Yes.
That's
respective?
nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. Because there's a lot of them that don't.
They'll introduce the names, but they don't necessarily let you have a moment. And from
A
what
lot
I've
of them won't even introduce the names.
yeah, well, that's
Really?
true.
Agreed. Yes.
Yes.
It's sad.
The band is like a family, and back in those 4 years, it was a family. The guys, Peter Segari on bass, and Jay Sweeney on keys, and
Well, you know the biggest word in there is chemistry. I've been in a million bands, and it only takes one idiot
yes,
to ruin the whole pot of soup.
right.
And
those idiots
to
eventually
to get that chemistry when it's right, it's great. It's great, and
Well said.
obviously you must have had the right chemistry.
we did have the chemistry, and yeah, it was like a second family. And
It's a lot more fun.
And in an encore number, Forever Young, Laura everybody took a long solo, not a short solo,
Yeah.
a long solo, and that was great. That was a testament to her.
It's funny, Jeff Simon, who's been George Thorogood's drummer from day one. They grew up together, I think, since he's 5 or 6 years old. Has never taken a solo,
Really?
and he said, "You will never hear me do a solo."
Is there a reason for that?
He's just that kind of guy. He's the most gracious.
He's more of a team guy than.
He don't even want to be known. The guy is just such a gentleman, such a great guy. And a great talent.
Well, it sounds like he believes it's more about the music than him.
He believes he has a job, and his job's not being in front. But I want to see a drummer. He was a guest here, and I was like, "So Jeff, when are you going to do a solo?" And he goes, "Oh God, I know who put you up to that question." So I on Facebook a lot. I go, "You going to do a solo?"
Well, Laura Bradigan one of our private conversation, she mentioned Steve Gadd quite often. And she said, Steve Gadd, that's who you want to sound like. Steve Gadd, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, Paul Simon, Steely Dan, it goes on and on.
Oh, wow.
He's
The most musical, tasteful, drummer ever, I think.
I think probably one of the most, like you say, I want to be like him.
Yes.
You know,
He's the
I
guy
mean,
you want to
He's the guy
sound
you
like.
want to be.
Right. And that kind of stuck over the years.
And still it, you know.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Make it feel good.
Because every drummer I know, I mean, that's the first guy on this.
Is there
on
a
the list.
favorite event or gig that you played that you can say was your absolute favorite?
With Laura?
With anybody.
I would say the Meyerhoff Symphony Hall when we played with the Little River Band.
Oh, nice.
With Laura.
Cool.
And it was cool because it was before our relationship, and I lent her my gel, and then she kept it. Then she called and said, I forgot it. So that was like the phone thing, the interaction started. So that was special to me. And just being on stage with those cats
Sure.
and playing in a
Oh,
big Carnegie Hall type
Yeah, you
arena
don't forget that.
venue. Yeah. I mean, don't even pay me.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell them that.
Right.
So with
That's
everything
like
you
baseball
do,
players, you know.
do you have a favorite? Or, I mean, it seems to me that you get energized because you have like this. I do a lot of things, and what keeps me energized is that I keep doing all of it, and you know, whenever I have. So, do you have a favorite of all of the things that you do, like the acting?
I get the vibe from him that he's yet to see. You just keep the journey going, right?
Well, I think acting was a branch off the tree. I've always acted, and I explored that more because as I'm aging, getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning from a wedding or some gig.
Yeah.
So I'm picking and choosing, and we have a couple gigs coming, but with the Screen Actors Guild, I'm able to express it myself more, but I would never leave the drums. I am a drummer first.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to get a chance to incorporate the drumming in a TV or film at some point. I did it in the film Heart and Soul with Anthony Magano. That was great. And I think other stuff will happen in that.
So how did you break into acting? Did you have connections, or was it completely, you know, because you seem to be doing all the right things and the networking, and I mean, how did you start to go into that?
I took theater in Brooklyn College, although that wasn't my major. I had a heavy theater background, and Jimmy Smits went to Brooklyn College. Steve Schripper graduated Brooklyn College. I went to high school with Chris Rock.
Oh.
He's in my yearbook. Andrew Silverstein, Andrew Dice Clay went to James Madison. So I was around it most of my
He's
life.
coming back.
He is.
Coming back.
He's got a good show. And he's a fine drummer, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, fine drummer. We had the same music teacher, Mr. Musica, in James Madison High. Same music teacher. So that being said, what was the question again? I lost my thought.
I forget what the question was. Don't ask me. I'm
my
the old
theater
one
background,
around here.
'cause I was talking about
how do
Andrew.
you start? How do you start to
Oh.
just go, you know, with the body of, you know, credits that you have? You say, okay, now I want to be an actor. How did you start? Because I think a lot of people wonder. I mean, I hear it all the time. I'm sure you do. People say, you know, I want to do what you do. Like, and again, I think it goes to the fact that I think we make it look easy.
We've all been there asking that
But
question.
we've been pounding the pavement and we've been
Right.
working at it. So how did you start to go off into that direction?
As a
I knew
joke,
I'd get that question. I knew I'd figured it out.
I saw it in your eyes.
well, playing as a drummer most of my life, and a lot of the front people were singers and actors, and I was always around it. Like I said, in high school and other names, and then by luck, I remember in early 2000 a Rebecca Dayhart film. My sister's girlfriend couldn't make it. She goes, "Tommy, why don't you take my place at the Boathouse?" And I went as a background, and like, wow, I'm seeing all these people I've seen. And my first break came when I made the front page in the New York Times in the early 90s. I was out with the guys and, you know, the group Halloweening, and I was Elvis, and we were drinking. And I made the front page of the New York Times. Another front page.
I see,
And then from
I see
there-
that you've been getting this luck for a long time.
And he
then.
was the king then,
I was
too.
the king. That's right.
So from there,
Always the king.
I met Kirsten Cole, and she says, "Oh, I'm going to put you on the morning show." I said, "Sure."
WPIX?
The Pix 11 shows, and sure enough, she called, and it led to 20 appearances on there.
Wow.
I mean, and then I'm like, you know
So
what?
you got the bug.
Yeah. And then I took some classes at the New York School of Film and Television, scene study. And then, again, little parts. I was always around it, but I think these past few years, it's been 24/7
Yeah.
where I've been through the fire and I went through all the healing and all that, and now I'm back to where I was. And it's a lot of training. I mean, to say you want to be an actor, everybody wants to be an actor, everybody wants to be a drummer, but there's a lot of hard work and sacrifice. Behind every victory, there's a million rejections and a million
absolutely.
tough moments that you went to get to that part.
And
I think that makes a better person, though. It's
absolutely.
somebody that gets it handed to them. It's they usually don't have a soul, you know. When you have to work for something really hard, and you're going to have the bumps, and you're going to be, you know, we don't need you. You're too fat. You're too tall. You're too whatever, you know. And you keep plugging, and then when you do get that shot, you know, you say to yourself, yeah, you know, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I went on the first, because I think it's changed a lot, the auditions. They do time slots, you know, so that you're not in a packed, you know, hallway and everybody's looking at everybody and we all look alike and it's like, oh, forget it, I'm never going to get this. Well, I went to something that was similar to that last week. It was what I call a cattle call.
Oh, boy.
And I just looked around and, you know, everybody's posturing and, you know, so happy to see everybody. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I took the train into Manhattan, and you know we all know the Long Island Railroad and the subways and the walk. And
I read about it.
That's right, you did. It was a miserable
and
experience.
I responded.
Most people said, "Oh, Joyce, just get over it." But I left saying to myself, "Oh, you know, I am not expecting anything," and I really just put it out of my head because it was just so. You know, it wasn't like lines, it wasn't a scene, it was like, you know, and 2 days later I get, you know, you've been picked. I'm like, wow, that was one of the ones where I would have been like, forget it. I never saw it coming. You know, I was like, I kept reading it. I like read it like 5 times, you know. So now you've actually had a lot of featured shows. You want to talk about some of the shows that you're in that,
Sure.
you know.
There's an upcoming film called Geezer with Billy Joe Armstrong, and it's a really, really prominent scene that you're going to see this year. I can't disclose it.
You'd have to shoot us.
I have to shoot it.
I know. I've seen the non-disclosures.
NDA, non-disclosure agreement. I'm also involved in a pilot that I've been cast in, also an NDA, non-disclosure. We rehearsed, and I'm signed for 2 years.
And is that shooting out on Long Island?
It's scheduled to be shot
Yep.
in Long Island. I think Deborah Markowitz, she emailed me. And Lee Kaplan is the producer for this undisclosed pilot. And
Very exciting.
With pilots, there's always a risk, but in some time, hopefully, with common delays of pilots, we're going to shoot soon.
I don't want to interrupt, but we do have a video we want to show, don't we?
Oh,
Sure.
which one?
Because we don't have a lot of time left.
This is you.
Really?
You.
It's you.
Drumming.
Should I hide?
I don't know.
I don't know. If
Can we
this-
run that, Janine?
So I guess that answers the question. You know, do you want to set it up? You'll be just as surprised as the rest of us.
You got me curious.
Here we go. Wow.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
You want to
Good
talk
choice.
about what that was?
That was for a cable show.
No, there's a story behind it.
Okay.
That was a cable
Not all my
show.
questions are insightful.
I forget the episode, Healing America talk show. And the composition was called Bay Breeze. And again, you know, my last name is Bayiokos, so you think of Bayside, Bay Breeze, your favorite drink.
Bay Ridge.
Bay Ridge. Oh.
Yeah.
So it was really
That's
cool.
where we're from.
So it was a long song. In a long song, you have your introduction, your body, and conclusion. So that had like a mix of certain drinks and certain colors. And then Bay Breeze came to mind. That's the Yamaha recording custom, the same set Dave Weckl uses. Like it's like the Mercedes of drum
Right.
sets.
Right.
So that was a good day. And again, doing a solo, you know where you're going to go, but every solo is going to come out different. You just don't know. Even with the stuff with Laura, you have an idea where you're going to go, but every time you do it, or as an actor, it's going to be in the moment.
Sure.
Offbeat question.
Sure?
Electric drums. Yes? No?
No.
No. Me neither.
No, because number one, you're hitting hard plastic. There's
It-
no rebound. There's no dynamics. There's no feel.
I
there's
agree with you
zero.
1,000%.
And even
1,000.
Buddy Rich said that it's like a toy kind
Yeah,
of.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So there's nothing like a good acoustic drum set.
I agree.
There you go.
So we have a few minutes left. Why don't you talk about the films and shows that we're going to be seeing you in?
Okay.
Okay. I know Blue Bloods
Blue Bloods, I'm
has
gonna
renewed.
yes. Hopefully we'll be back in July, and you know Blue Bloods is special to me because I was Santa Claus in season 2, and I was a day player where I went ho 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 ho, Mary, and that was me. And then through there, the cast got to know me, and I became one of Tom's recurring lieutenants. So anytime you see Tom Selleck in the office, I'm around,
Yeah, I can see
saluting
that.
him.
I could see that.
And but the silver lining to being a core actor on a show like that is watching Tom work and
Absolutely.
Greg Jabara work.
He's
Yeah.
a gentleman, right?
Master.
Please tell me, because I love
Good
him.
guy, fine actor. You want to learn acting? Forget the acting schools. Watch him work.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that when I was on The Good Wife as a law clerk, you know, I wasn't even thinking who the principals were at the time. It was one of the first times I was on. And who walks in, first team, is Michael J. Fox.
Nice.
Another awesome
Yeah.
person to have been able to watch work. It was just extraordinary.
Right. Just watching these people work, you're going to learn stuff you can't
Right.
learn in an
Sure.
acting class or conservatory anywhere.
It's
right.
like everything, you know.
And-
Musicians, the same thing.
And you could play chess or checkers on a set. You could sit around and just go to Crafty and stuff your face, or you can read the sides and say, wait, he's landing on this word. He's phrasing it this way.
That's right.
And you could do the work.
That's
and
right.
it pays
Mm-hmm.
off.
Yeah.
So lots of good stuff coming up. We have a couple of drum gigs coming up. Like I said, the pilot we have coming up.
The bodyguard for what show?
American Odyssey, I was
Yes.
Sophia's recurring bodyguard. And that was really special to me. Now it's on Netflix.
Wonderful.
So you get to, you know, see me around. And it's cool. The other day I was in SAG and somebody said, Tommy, I saw you with that Greek girl. I said,
Yeah.
she's not Greek. She's Irish playing Greek.
Yeah, well, that was a great gig for you as well.
Yes. And The Good Wife, arresting Chris North. That was
Yes.
huge. And then you'll see me next in the Jimmy Gaffigan
I was
show.
the food
Oh,
truck.
I love him.
I was
Great guy,
love
great
him.
guy.
We saw him at Westbury. He was great.
Great
Oh, yeah.
guy.
And he's doing a lot of work too in the area.
Yeah, he's a great.
Yes. Great, great guy. And,
My last gig on The Good Wife was the food truck lady.
oh, that was you?
Guy. What were you cooking?
I had
Was
to-
it lobster?
No, I wasn't. No lobster in my truck. No, I had to be all like giddy that Chris Noth was there.
Well,
Ah.
I think we got to wrap it up, so I'm
Okay.
going to leave it up to you to wrap it up and make whatever. I want to make sure he gets in what he has to get in. And
Absolutely. Is there anywhere that we can find what you're up to? Do you have?
I have a Facebook public page. I am on Facebook. Please hit me up. I have a Twitter account. So Tommy Bayiokos, Bayiokos.
KOS.
And look, good things are happening. We take all these memories and we're moving forward.
Well,
and,
that's
This
a
has
good
been
thing.
great
Grateful.
learning about you,
thank you for having me.
learning about Laura and your relationship and how just the memories have
And
been
keeping her spirit
wonderful.
alive
Yes,
is
because
great.
you are definitely
Thank you so much.
doing a wonderful
And it
thing.
means a lot to be able to talk about it, to share it with all. And she's around, and we're moving
Oh, yeah.
forward. And I'm blessed
Absolutely.
and I'm grateful for this day and everything. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It really
Yes.
has.
And thank you. This is the Long Island View, and we're looking forward to the next show. So stay tuned.
Good stuff coming.